YouTube's got a problem, and now I have a problem with YouTube. YouTube just announced all of these changes that they're going to be making to the platform at this annual meeting called Made on YouTube, where a bunch of YouTube executives get together to present the next year, the next couple of years, and in this case, the next 20-year vision plan for the platform. And the next 20 years look pretty bleak because of one specific announcement that they have made that is going to hurt viewers and creators alike. It will not hurt the platform. YouTube will profit off of this, and that's the problem because they don't care. As long as they profit, they're fine. But it will hurt us, viewers and creators alike. It will hurt us deeply. So I know that I'm sounding pretty scary right now. What could it possibly be? What could be so bad? Well, it's called Veo 3 and a ton of other generative AI tools to quote unquote create.
What's up? I'm here at Made on YouTube and they just announced a lot. Here's the main headlines for you right now.
That was made by YouTube directly, by the way, on their official page. YouTube is ushering in a wave of generative AI content onto this platform, and they are welcoming it, and they are monetizing it. They are rewarding it, and they are trying to normalize it. It is not normal, and it should not be accepted. It's dangerous. It is dangerous to creators, and it is dangerous to viewers. And why is generative AI so bad? Well, there are plenty of places where you can learn more about the exponential harm of generative AI. And the problem is that this harm is so wide-reaching, it is so pervasive that it feels hard to even try to summarize the amount of harm that it can do. But here are some of the bullet points. And listen, I really encourage you to see this video as more of a springboard to start to look into some of these issues more yourself after you've watched this video. Well, generative AI steals. It welcomes deep fakes in a world where credibility and truth is already constantly in question. It incentivizes people to not develop critical thinking skills of their own due to generative AI summaries. It harms the environment, and it is a lazy way to try to imitate art and life at the expense of people in exchange for profit. There are so many other issues at play here, and again, I highly encourage that you start to look into some of these things, and I also encourage you to start to speak up about some of these things. I don't know if this video is going to be suppressed due to some of the topics that I'm covering here, because frankly, I wouldn't be surprised. So if you want to share this video or make a video of your own, I encourage you to do so. Just speak up, because this is going to get worse and fast. Because when one of the top executives at YouTube is presenting this new tool, Veo 3, to welcome generative AI content under the guise of, oh haha, funny monkey playing music, or oh, that shrimp is getting a haircut. This is just the beginning. And I think it is very important that we actually look into what the CEOs of YouTube are saying about these quote unquote new tools for creation. Some of this stuff is kind of ridiculous to me, but we do need to be listening very closely at what their policies and their approach are to generative AI. Let's start off first with YouTube's Chief Product Officer and what she has to say.
The kinds of updates that we're talking about here are the ability to stylize a short, like make it a cartoon, add fantastical objects, like add a corgi to a short.
A generative AI corgi is not fantastical. It is something that nobody is asking for other than the people who are profiting off of lazy content. I don't want to see a generative AI corgi. I want to see a real corgi. I want to see real cats, just like the internet was born to be. We cannot be abandoning our roots. I don't want to see this generative AI slop that now I'm going to see a million times more of because of this tool that they have introduced.
I could have a video of someone dancing like a ballerina and a picture of me, and then all of a sudden I can make a fun creative video of me dancing like a ballerina.
Or maybe you could just learn to dance. Maybe you could just learn. Maybe you could just, I don't know, dance. And listen, maybe you're a bad dancer. That's okay. How else are you going to learn if you don't even try? There are plenty of things in life that you are not going to be good at when you first start. That's the whole point. You have to practice, you have to learn. There's art to things, whether it is dancing, whether it is speaking, whether it is writing, whether it is making a video. It is an art form and you need to learn and stumble, and there is an endearment in that human ability to learn and to grow. There is so much beauty in the process of learning, in the process of creation, in the process of sludging through all of the badness that you are going to start off with because it's new. That is human. Taking that away disgusts me on a fundamental level. I'm speaking as someone who used to dance salsa and bachata multiple times a week. This is just one of the many art forms that just try. Just try. We are encouraging people to stop trying, to stop being vulnerable, one of the most human experiences that we can have. And I hate that.
So we're doing all that, and then we're also incorporating VO3, which is going to allow people to add sound to generative videos.
All right. We're not only going to have generative AI content, but also the sounds, the music, the people are all going to be generative AI. This is where we're at, folks. And it's where we've been for a while now, and I just can't take it anymore.
There's just so much creativity that can be brought about when you give Gen AI to creators, and we're just really excited to see what creators will do with this.
That is so cool.
No, it's not. It's not cool. There is a day where Google will not hesitate to replace people like you presenting on these exact same things. I'm sorry to say, they just don't. If there was a world where Google could replace all of these people talking right now about this exact subject, they would do it just to save money. Because hey, according to your new policies, content is content, generative AI or not. Who's to say that your job's not next? Oh, we're just trying to optimize the workflow. All right.
I can't compete with the big special effects companies on things like digital doubles or digital sets, but I totally can on creativity.
We're just gonna resort to Gen AI? That's the only way we can express our creativity. We can't learn other methods of storytelling that are just as valid, by the way. We don't need some crazy special effects in order to tell an amazing story. If anything, a lot of these studios, game, movie, etc., you name it, have just been the poster child of big, pretty set. Big production does not equal value. Time and time again, we're seeing these big studios producing these gigantic projects, throwing millions of dollars into special effects, into pretty aesthetics, with an empty shell. It was never about the story. It was never about the art. It was never about creativity. It was a cash grab by these corporations. No one's asking you to compete with special effects corporations. Literally no one cares. As long as your story is good, then there are ways of telling that story well. Haven't you guys ever heard that the method is the message? What is the message that you think you're sending by using generative AI? Now, I think it's about time that we hear from the big man himself, the CEO of YouTube. And you know what? I know I'm going pretty hard on this topic, but it's because I care. I have always loved YouTube, and I am just heartbroken to see where we are headed. So let's see what he has to say.
This other one that inserts a photo of you into a dance video so you could partake in a trend. And I know Google has VO3, and I get the validity behind them. I like it for a newer creator, like that makes it easier to upload, kind of like a filter did back in the day for a photo.
Sorry. So that's actually not the CEO. That's the person who's interviewing the CEO. And I just have to say, a photo filter is not the same as generative AI. Like, please. What are we doing?
And we're just in the first inning of all this. And there's a ton of AI slop out there as well.
He said it. He said that there's AI slop on the platform because there is. He just pointed out the elephant in the room, and for that, I do appreciate.
Knowing all this, I wanted to tee up a question from none other than Logan Paul.
What? Logan Paul? We're calling up Logan Paul to ask the tough questions here. Logan Paul. Okay. We do realize that Logan Paul uploaded what he uploaded in Japan, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're welcome to look it up. But if we're going to talk about what's an ethical thing to upload to YouTube, Logan Paul is not the person that I would want asking a question about that. In fact, he is one of the very last. But I get it. He's a big name. Get your bag.
What's up, Neil? Logan here. I'm curious what type of AI content will be eligible for monetization on YouTube and not get dinged in the algorithm.
Yeah, it's funny he's asking this because YouTube has been pretty clear that low effort content would be demonetized. And that seemed to be targeting specifically AI generated content.
I think a lot of AI studios are going to be popping up here as it becomes more and more prominent.
More prominent, more accessible, and more accepted by YouTube.
And I'm wondering how YouTube is going to handle it, because I think there's a misconception at the moment with how much work goes into some of the high quality, top tier AI content that's being made.
I've never heard a more oxymoronic statement in my life.
And so I'm just curious how YouTube is going to be handling this AI revolution, because I think it's going to be really prominent and a lot of content will be generated.
Yeah, we are going to see a lot of crap, just garbage. So yeah, what are you guys exactly going to do about this?
I don't think our systems, whether it's, the algorithm that Logan's alluding to, or monetization or what have you, should honestly discriminate one way or the other.
Yeah, they have backtracked on that whole low effort content will be demonetized. Oh, they have backtracked so hard.
We also have a lot of community guidelines already in place where if you're a creator that is uploading, fully synthetic content, you should, indicate that in the upload. And then we place that sort of label sometimes on the video itself, but oftentimes just in the metadata.
Okay, we need to talk about this. So yeah, that's true. When you upload a video, it is optional to indicate whether or not that video is generated by AI. Again, it's optional. You don't have to do it. And if people want to be deceptive by utilizing generative AI, or if they are content farms, you think that they're going to self-elect to be like, hey, yeah, I use all Gen AI. No, they're not. And YouTube literally just said themselves that they're not going to make it a prominent thing, that sometimes it's just in the metadata. How on earth does the metadata help to inform viewers? Because ultimately, having proper visible labeling on whether content is Gen AI or not is very important. Not everybody is digitally literate. They cannot tell the difference between Gen AI and not. And it's getting harder to tell. We need to be able to know the difference. We should be protected as consumers and be able to tell immediately through proper labeling. It should not be hidden in metadata or elective to be able to tell whether or not. That needs to change. Now, you know what's funny? So then this interviewer presents to the CEO of YouTube a bunch of different options for videos on a range of utilization of AI and is like, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this being on the platform? How do you feel about this being monetized on the platform? What are your thoughts as the CEO of YouTube?
I'm just wondering, what's the difference in monetization discovery between these types of videos?
Yeah. What do you think the difference should be?
So he throws it back at the interviewer, and he's obviously trying to come up with some answer that he doesn't know. He wants to know what the CEO of YouTube thinks about it.
The topic, I don't know. I'm curious to hear your take.
Yeah.
But this one is the thing I feel really weird about.
Mm-hmm. What do you think should be the case in that last example?
Why do you keep asking the interviewer what he thinks? We're asking you, the CEO of YouTube, what do you think? What are you doing about content like this? Please do something. Stop just trying to throw the question to everybody else.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? That's a big question.
Yeah.
Holy crap. So then he proceeds to not answer the question and then starts to talk about protecting people's likeness, their voice, their face, everything that should be protected from generative AI that's trying to steal it.
And I think that this is a place where YouTube is not just a collection of words and statements. It's not just me saying that. We have a long track record here of living up to that principle, and you described it. It's called Content ID.
Okay, so we're talking about Content ID. Content ID, in theory, sounds great. It's a way to try to protect people and their work. However, Content ID has been notoriously misused time and time again. And YouTube doesn't really do anything about it. They're pretty hands off about it. There are so many people and so many people's stories where they have just been absolutely taken advantage of. They've had their money taken. They're being put in situations where they're being forced to dox themselves to people who are stalking them. Yes, that is real. And there are many, many cases of that. Feel free to look it up. It happens a lot. And even now, I'm actually going through a copyright claim issue where I've been playing through SilkSong, and obviously there's SilkSong music in that game, and I'm being copyright claimed, falsely copyright claimed, because the musician of the music that is being copyright claimed has stated, that's not me, that's not me. So it's either someone doing illegal activities, or it's an issue on YouTube's end. Which one it is, I don't know. The point is that Content ID is just not the answer to all, because there are so many issues that happen within Content ID itself. I understand that things happen. There are nefarious people out there. There are people who are going to take advantage of systems. But when it comes to small creators like me, we get screwed. I don't have the resources to fight. I don't have the means to fight. And so when you're providing generative AI tools to very easily steal someone's likeness, bad things are going to happen. And especially to those who are the most vulnerable.
And what about studios that make this content that almost it's so easy for them and it's so hard for us human creators that it kind of takes away that digital real estate on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. I think this goes back to what I said is I don't think a piece of content should be penalized just because it was created with AI.
I'm sorry, but this is just appalling to me. That this is what the CEO of YouTube is saying. That this is what is going to happen to our platform. Welcome in the new era to the next 20 years.
There's going to be amazing content that is produced with AI, and being short-sighted about it, I think, is not good for the creator ecosystem and is not good for YouTube. So that's the sort of the high-level statement.
You're just trying to compete. You're just trying to compete with all the other platforms that are using generative AI. You should be a leader in where we should actually be headed into the creator economy. There are a lot of amazing things that you guys have introduced that I love. Again, I love this platform. I love creating. And it's just so sad to me that there is so much that is being poured into generative AI when people are struggling so hard just to be able to continue creating, to live. And this is where we're headed. Just more profit to those who don't need it and those who steal it. But one of the reasons especially I wanted to talk about this is because this feels like it was shoehorned into an overall Trojan horse. With their recent introduction, they also introduced a bunch of really cool new features that I'm excited about as a creator, and I know so many are. And it just feels like YouTube took this opportunity to give creators on this platform things that they've been asking for a very long time in order to simultaneously include very controversial features like this. They're gonna give us the things that we've been asking for years for, just to be able to help to drown out any controversy that could come out from this decision. And I stand by my statement that generative AI that is accepted by the platform is dangerous to both creators and viewers alike. It makes me scared. It makes me scared, especially as a smaller creator. What it is that I'm already up against, it's hard. So if you want to support smaller creators like me, please consider becoming a member of the channel or donating to my Ko-Fi. I've been going through a really, really hard time recently, and I feel like I'm kind of putting my neck out right now when I've already been struggling. But I felt like I needed to talk about this, that it was very important to my heart, that I needed to be brave about this. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.